What's up, guys? Vaughn Joseph here. Thanks for tuning in, and we are happy that you joined us today. Hope you guys are visiting v3tv.uk for all of your entertainment needs. You know what time it is. It is time for Authors of Amazon again today. So we have with us Miss Cindee Bartholomew, you guys. She's got a book called Learning to Love, and it was released earlier this week. So we'd like to welcome Cindee Bartholomew. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How are you doing today, young lady?
I'm feeling really good. It's cold outside, but I'm hovering in my cave and I'm hiding. So.
It's called a woman cave. I love it. Where are you that it's cold? Because I'm really cold, and I just came from Michigan a little while ago, and it was really, really cold.
Okay, well, it's not that cold. I live in Lower Alabama. We call it Alabama. However, it is 22 degrees outside, so it's cold as fuck.
That is really cold for Alabama, I'm sure.
That is.
It is absolutely insane. So, this book, Learning to Love, is the fourth installment in your series called A Story of True Love. And it takes place in Italy, actually, which is a lovely country. We just got back from Italy last week, my first time there. Tell us about the book.
Well, Learning to Love is actually the fourth book in the series, and the couple is in Rome during their love fest. They're getting to know each other, and they're finding out how a relationship actually functions. And so it's a lot of fun. She runs into a couple of his old flames, and you know how jealousy can be. So being a southern sassy girl, she puts them in their place, and it's a lot of fun. This book, they explore Rome and get to see all the sights. And because I personally visited Rome, I knew how to write it. So they go to the Colosseum, and it's fun. It's a good read.
Right. So there's all these interactions between ex-girlfriends, or is there any any drama? Or
there's some drama in it. There's a couple of scenes in there where you're wondering how she's going to take this. So I don't want to give too much away, but she's a very sassy, feisty girl, and she appears to be a sweetie. Like, she's real sweet looking, but when you get her all riled up, it's on. So.
See, so she's one of those. So it's much like yourself. When I first saw you and your face pops up, and I go, oh, this is gonna be a nice, smooth church lady type interview, and immediately, image of that was gone.
Exactly. So she's a lot like me. I wrote a lot of my personality into this girl. So. Right. Makes it easy, and she's flirty and fun.
Right on, perfect. So is that part of like your research? Do you find that most of the stuff in the characters that you develop and have in your films and your storylines are based off of your real life?
Yes. I've been married to my high school sweetheart for 36 years, and so I understand the different levels of love and falling in love and living in love, learning all those dynamics with it. But I'm a people watcher, and we traveled all over Europe. We've traveled, Vegas is my favorite place, but I watch people and I study people. I always have. So I'm able to take from the things that I've seen. And I have friends that I've kind of morphed into my book, but we don't want to mention any names. It's all fictional characters, right?
That's really cool. I've noticed that a lot of well, actually probably most writers and a lot of stand-up comedians they're the same way. They notice these like subtle nuances that take place in life, and they make jokes out of it, or in your case, you make a book out of it. I know that these novels, these romance novels, and novels, I guess, where there's a series of them from an author in particular, the followers, they're really into it. And I think I probably first really got a feel for that when I watched the film Misery, and the guy, he gets hurt by the crazy fans. So, and you can't change the ending and all this stuff. So what do your readers, for like a romance novel, what is it that they really want from the novel? What are they expecting to see when they open a Cindee Bartholomew book and they start reading? What should they expect, and what do you deliver?
Well, they should expect to receive lust and love. They go hand in hand together, and it forms a perfect union. And that is what my stories deliver, and that is what I believe is true. That's what I've lived. So I fell in love with my husband at 17, and it was an instant attraction for us, and it has stayed that way. We've been married 36 years. I'm 57, and I tell you, I'm as in love with him today, if not more, than I was that very first day, and it's special. And I write that and I deliver it.
That's lovely. That's lovely. So you are I want to get this right. So are you is it a romance expert or relationship expert, or because I had like a sex expert on here once, and everyone's got these specialties.
There is nothing like experience to give you true knowledge. So you can go to school and study theory, but I'm telling you, if you lived it, you experience, there's no substitute.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you began writing about 4 years ago then?
I did. I published the first novel in 2014.
What got you started in that? Because you're telling me now you're in your 50s, so that was something later that's obviously in your life. So what prompted that to take place?
Well, there was kind of like a midlife crisis where I realized, holy shit, I'm 54, and if I'm going to do this, I need to do it. So, and a challenge, a personal challenge. Someone laid the gauntlet down that it couldn't be done, and I'm one of those people that says it can be, and I will. So I decided that I needed to. It was on my bucket list as well. I'm an avid reader. I've always read. I used to carry around a book with me. I never went anywhere without one. And so the love of reading has always been instilled in me, but that gauntlet was laid down, and I stepped up to the challenge, wanted to write it off my bucket list, and decided that I would do it. And I did.
Very nice.
I'm looking at my book right now. This was the actual first one. This is the one that I published first. Now, it's out of print. I've switched it all up because now it's a series, and that one was not written as a series. So that's the one that started it all.
Right on. Perfect. Perfect. So as a female author, do you feel that you might not be afforded some of the opportunities for, say, like reach or expansion that some of your male contemporaries might be, like whether it be like product placement or even maybe having some of your books developed into scripts? Is that something that you've experienced at all?
Not at this point. I'm not really sure how much of the male-female dynamic plays in Amazon's book world. I've had success in it, but as far as being able to get it into a script and hitting the Hollywood scene, haven't experienced that yet, so we'll see. It is my goal. My goal is to have this series turned into a movie.
Okay, well, good luck with that. We definitely...
Thank you. Any help you can give me, I would appreciate it.
It's tough.
Anybody watching out there, hit me up.
It's tough. I know it can be a bear, because especially the reason I ask, and you know, I guess I probably am obviously segueing into something else. With this whole movement that's taking place in Hollywood right now, and around and other industries as well, with the inequality or the male dominance and so on, I was wondering if that affected this industry at all, or is it something that you experience in that industry personally, or is it completely separated? Because I don't really know how the levels or the tiers work. I know you write, you have an attorney, and you know you have a management or distribution, and you have the publisher or whatever. But how has that affected you at all?
It has not personally, but the dynamic of a male-female relationship, with the male being dominant and the female being submissive, that's a natural flow of life. That's just how it is, and it is going to enter into every aspect of your life. It will be business or personal, or when you go out into a restaurant, you meet a complete stranger. That is the way we are just built. I mean, I'm a female. I understand that, but the level of keeping business and being partners. I've worked with my husband for 30 years as well. And you have to have someone who's in charge, and it may not necessarily be the man, it may be the woman. So there has to be a level of trust and understanding and a partnership that that translates, and it will be immediate. When you meet someone, you will immediately know if they are going to take charge of their own personality and their own business or not. So I consider myself an alpha female, but I am submissive to my husband. So I understand both the way they play, and when you enter into a business relationship, you have to be you. You have to be who you are, and but you have to protect yourself as well. That's where the attorney comes in. So they're the ones that go, no, scratch that. No, we're going to do that over here. So it takes a team, and you have to trust your team. Anytime you go into an environment where you're selling something new, you have to be aggressive. You have to be bold.
Right.
I don't know if I answered that right or not, but
no, that's lovely. So you've got, and you correct me if you need me to strike this, that's fine, but you have books that are already finished in this series.
I do.
Okay, perfect. So, because I was doing some research earlier, and I'm looking at Amazon and so on, and I see that you have books slated to come out in the next few months.
I do.
Those are, I'm assuming, part of this series. So when you do that, do you have like this epic tale in your brain already, and you've already got more or less the story done, and you're just needing to break it up into books, so you have all the books are done, more or less, you just have to write them, obviously, and they're ready?
Exactly. That's exactly what happens. The first book I wrote is actually now the second and third book of the series, that book I just showed you. The story was not finished. I knew where I wanted it to go. I knew how I wanted it to start, and I knew how I wanted it to end. But the beginning, which is this book now, Looking for Love, I didn't actually write this until about a year ago. So I had to go back on my series. I pulled all those books off, and I have republished them. So the story from start to finish, all the way through the books, is now written. And I'm simply editing them and getting them up to speed and changing some of the nuances in the very beginning that changed at the end of the story. I need to make sure that this beginning of the book follows through to the end. There were a few little things I had to go back and tweak. So this is the first book, and it's told from the hero's perspective. It's told from the male perspective. This is when he first sees her, and you learn all his history here. He's a very complex character, and by the time you get to the end of the series, you have to know who he really is. And so you learn him in this book. And then the second book is Finding Love, and this one is told from the heroine's perspective. So Siri speaks to you directly in this. All of my books are first person. So once you get into her head, you stay in her head in this one, and it's pretty. She's chatty. She got a lot to say, right? And then the third book is Falling in Love, and it is told from her perspective. Learning to Love, which is the most recent book out, is also her perspective. The following book will be called Being in Love, also told from her perspective. And then the very last book is Living in Love, and it is told from a dual perspective. It will be both her and him. So it will both Siri and Ari. Yeah, so I do have this series already written, but when I started writing it originally, I knew where I wanted it to go, but I had no idea what was going to happen in between. I had no idea how many books it would take to get me there. And I was brand new at writing, and I didn't realize, it was a learning. I was learning. It was a big, steep curve. It goes, but I'm there now. I'm at the top, so we're cruising.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you all the best with your releases this year. Hopefully we can have you back when the weather breaks and you're not down there in, where did you say you are again? In Laura?
I'm in L.A., Lower Alabama, a little city called Dothan, and we are in the very southeast corner. So
Lower Alabama, I love it.
Lower Alabama, L.A.
That's brilliant. So when your other books come out, hopefully we can have you back on Where can people find you? Shoot us your social medias, your websites. Where can they get your stuff?
Okay, I'm on Amazon exclusively, so all of my books are in Kindle Unlimited, and you can buy paperbacks from Amazon, or you can buy them directly off my website. If you order them directly from my website, which is CindeeBartholomewAuthor.com, I will autograph them and ship them to you. So that's a good way to be in touch. But I'm on Instagram. I'm not very much on Twitter. I am on my pen name, and my pen name is Jessica Clyde, and I originally started her. She's the erotic author, and I started her 4 years ago. So Cindee is brand new. I've just introduced her, so my fan base is dual. A lot of my erotic fans are also fans of Cindee, but I'm hoping to grow Cindee into a much larger market. The word fuck is not in the book that often. You can't totally get away from it. But these books are the contemporary, steamy, and Jessica Clyde writes under erotic, and it's full detail. So hit me up. I'm chatty. I have Southern hospitality.
That's brilliant. Cindee Bartholomew, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk with us about your books. So we hope to have you back soon.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Vaughn Joseph here as always. It's a pleasure for having you on. Tune in to v3tv.uk if you guys want to see other cool stuff. Send us your music. Send us your stuff. We always play your things on the website as well. We'll see you next time when we see you. See ya.